Kia ora, I'm John Boy,
And I'm Cows.
and we are the run-up team, and this is the recap for the Volume 4 Retro Event November edition,
2024.
2024.
So we've just come home. We've had a couple of drinks just to calm our nerves because it was a big day. And how did we feel?
Great day. I think in terms of our production or workload, it's very well balanced this time, I think, and I think it's because it was slightly better organisation and
New venue.
a new venue, and we're a little bit more well rehearsed than previous events. So
yeah, it was really good. For the first time in the 4 events, we've had the day before to be able to set up. So on Saturday, the retro team got together. We had some vendors that were Auckland based or had travelled up to sort of prepare earlier.
And I think that's a good way to do it, right? Is to have that prep day prior to,
now.
Especially for the out of towners that do need to come up. Probably need to spend a little bit more time to be able to get their stalls set up.
Even just to try to find the venue.
Yeah.
Because this is our 3rd venue. So we were at the Event Finder Stadium, which was the old North Shore Centre, old North Shore Stadium. Event Centre, yep. Massive. Like, so much bigger, so much more parking. Space-wise, it was massive.
Yeah. Just all across the board, things were running more smoother, I think, because we had more space, more ability to maneuver around the car parks, the building, each other.
Yeah, and I think the fact that this is our 4th one and the ability to understand where our problems lie in the last 3, we were able to avoid those, but we did still have a couple of behind the scene problems which we took care fairly quickly.
Yeah, because it's an evolving process, and we're learning as we go along, and the things that potentially cause headaches or could cause headaches, we managed to avoid most of.
Yeah, so this year we did a cosplay competition, which we did at the Dewdrops in June, but this year it was promoted quite highly. So we had quite a few people dressed up. So we had
and that felt more organised as well, right? The layout and the presentation.
Yeah. So they were on the they weren't on the floor with everyone else. They were kind of raised up in the higher seats where everyone was able to walk in front of the whole stadium and all the vendors and all the people that were selling stuff to be able to see what you were wearing. So it was quite a public affair.
Yeah. I guess had I been one of them, I would have felt probably a lot more exposed this time, because everybody could see you from any point anywhere in the event. So.
And people had stopped. They were like, okay, like this is happening. The cosplay's walking through.
Yeah. We definitely did get like a couple of groups of crowds, like closer to where they were to be able to get a good viewing standpoint.
So I guess that's staying, which is great. So we had 3 winners of the day. I couldn't even. I think the first one was Sherlock Holmes, female Sherlock Holmes, and
she came first. Yep.
Phenomenal. Second was this massive. What was he called? A War Marine.
He's a Warhammer Space Marine. He was a Green Faction, which I think is the
Pass.
Devil.
I don't know, but I met that guy. Sorry, we got someone in the background helping us today. And what is it?
Oh, I was going to say, do you know what symbol it was?
Was it Death Angel?
Dark Angel?
Dark Angel.
Was it a sword and some wings?
Oh, I
didn't get that close.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing was massive.
Yeah.
So I happened to be there when they were handing out the awards, and I got to speak to him because he turned up really early, was up on top, and didn't move. Like he was already half-pie dressed.
Yeah, well, that was because he couldn't move.
he was having troubles, and apparently the person that was going to help him set everything up didn't show up, which was a bit of a shame, but he sat up there for like 2 or 3 hours before the walkthrough, and I don't think he was hardcore. So I got to speak to him because I happened to be around when they were handing out the awards. He had said that he'd injured his arm, had an operation, and so he had 6 weeks off work, and in that time he just decided, let's make this massive foam armor looking massive.
Yeah.
Had a helmet.
Really well detailed.
Yeah. Even close up, like he was like, it's foam. I was like, really? And gave it a tap, and it would have been hot.
Yeah.
So hot.
Well insulated.
Yeah, so he was cool. And then the third one, I didn't know, it was an anime.
I didn't know what that was.
Purple hair, spiky.
White cloth and cape and things.
Yeah. And that's more our ignorance than anything else. Like, everyone else knew what it was and was very excited about her. She was excited. Like, they said her name. She went, ah! And I thought, go girl.
She's pretty chuffed about her inclusion in the winner's circle there.
So the cosplay was really popular. I think at Manukau we had maybe 5 or 6 Mad Max.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely grown, right? I think the popularity of that within the realm of the retro event is definitely something that can be built on more.
Yeah. So I think one of the reasons why it was so popular is because our PR team picked up a popular cosplayer. Now, I'm not cosplay at all. I don't know enough about the cosplay realm to even hazard a guess as to the name, but they were at the door. They welcomed everybody in. They had been, since maybe 3 weeks ago, they've been advertising really hard out to their support or their followers to get involved. And people turned up.
Yeah, definitely. I think a special mention should go to the Ghostbusters family.
Oh, so cute. So their dad was dressed up as Rick Moranis, and he had
the key holder, is that what he's
the key holder, yeah, and he had what do you call that? Like
the brain
strainer on his head.
The thought transfer, whatever that is.
So
I don't know.
But he had both his kids, and they were both dressed up as Ghostbusters, so they were cool.
You remind me of Doc Brown. Back to the Future. Yeah.
And he made a face, and he was really cool. There was the Flintstone family, so Barney Rubbles, the Rubbles and the Flintstones were there, and they were dressed up. So it was, I would think, at a guess, a couple of married couples, and then their children were dressed up as Bam Bam and Pebbles. There was a couple of Star Wars.
Yeah, I liked, and I saw the Helldiver. Helldiver, he had a cool outfit.
Yep, and then there was a Hamburglar. He was running around, but he didn't even cosplay. He was just rolling around the floor, kind of like just running around being the Hamburglar. So he was cool. So the cosplay for its first, like, we did it at Manukau, but for this time round, it was an event, which was really great to see. Yeah. As far as
and they had handmade trophies. Sorry.
They had yes. Sorry. So I only know Felix's name. I think it was Badger Workshop. And I'm taking a guess again. Which was run by a lovely gentleman called Felix. He made the trophies. Those trophies were presented to our winners, and then they had their names engraved onto these and they were big. They were like that size, and then that size, and then that size. So they got a really nice trophy, and it was engraved with their names. And I would assume cosplay winner, first place, second place, third place, 2020
retro event 2024, volume 4.
So that was really cool. I think we talk about the cosplay because it's the first time we've really pushed it.
And like Kaz mentioned, we don't know a lot about these characters per se as much, when we see them, and I find it hard to identify them, but definitely the interest is there, and I think the costumes themselves, you can tell when the people have put like their heart and soul into making their costumes, and then their ability to wear them and then action them as their player.
And turn up in front of thousands of people and rock and roll, and this is my time to shine. So that was great. And that was over and done with by about 12:30. So I think registrations were done at 20 to 12, and then the whole event sort of kicked off at 12 o'clock. So it was a very cool addition to the retro.
One that I hope sticks and gets bigger and becomes more popular, and then requires, I guess, more time and dedication for myself to learn more about it.
But he should dress up as Afro Samurai.
Oh, yeah.
We've tried to get him to do it, but we run out of time. But it's on.
We're definitely doing that. I'm going to do that.
So the other things that were probably noteworthy is the setup was a lot different than like Retro 1 and Retro 2, because that was kind of tables everywhere in small islands. The setup was tables on the outside and then 4 big islands where everyone could actually have space behind them to set up shelves or tables, display work to be able to have things bigger set behind you so people could, I
wonder if, do we have an idea of what the vendor numbers were in comparison to what they have been in the past?
I think historically we've been around I think Kohimarama must have been 120 to 150. I think Manukau was about 150, and I believe because of the space we were in, we were at about 200.
Yeah.
But that's absolute making up numbers.
Yeah, definitely showing growth there.
That has a lot to do with the venue.
Yeah.
Because it was massive. I think other notables would have been we had... we didn't make it outside so much because we were busy at our table and talking to people and networking and stuff. But I think we had 3 food trucks.
Yeah.
And that excluded the Event Finder Stadium's coffee place.
Yeah, because there was an in-house cafe that was a part of the event.
Yep, and then about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we found out there was a bar open. We may have taken advantage of that. And so there's enough food. There's enough food for everyone. Drinks. Dilma was in the house, so Dilma was more or less either being sold by the cafe, or for the vendors that were in house, they were given as sort of freebies. This is your drink for today. Promote rah rah rah.
Yep.
Errol dropped the Retro Magazine Volume 2.
Yep.
So that dropped today. Massive 80-page spread.
Yep. And the main feature of that was...
Oh, good grief. His interview with one of the guys from The Simpsons.
Yep.
His name escapes me because I have not had time to read it, even though I've now got 3 copies. So we had a lovely woman by the name of Michaela who does hand drawings and colourful art. So she had a table near us, and she was a feature in that magazine as well. Yep. Our brother Bo did a article on Transformers. Looking forward to reading that. And I think we had game and movie reviews, as well as I think he did something where he went and watched a horror film with somebody, and then the review was...
Did a review?
Yeah, and did a review about the horror films. But again, I have not had the time to actually look into that.
Oh yeah, we've been busy, haven't we? So
busy. As far as the vendors,
there was a Beyblade tournament.
Oh, massive
tournament. Sorry. Lots of gameplay for the Beyblades, as well as stalls for selling Beyblades.
I didn't even get to have a look at that.
I had a quick squiz at that. Very
loud.
Yeah. And exciting. I think exciting, because that's what that is. That's people competing against each other with their Beyblades of choice.
I heard they were radio controlled. Someone said there was a bout where there was Beyblades that were radio controlled too. I think Atticus might have said something about that.
Yeah.
But I didn't see. I didn't go that far back. But
I didn't actually see it myself either.
Yeah. Next to them was the Robot Wars, which we had at the Dewdrops, and they were allowed to. I didn't get to see them.
No, that was a good showing. Again, there was interactive as well, and so loud and so destructive and so much.
Things were breaking. It sounded like things were breaking.
Smashing and banging and
next to them was the Star Wars. I don't want to say they're cosplay. They are a club.
Yeah.
Like a unit or something. So they dress in Star Wars. They have uniforms. They do different characters. I think the massive size R2-D2 that rolls around.
Yes.
Is part of that crew. And then next to them was Santa. Because we're so close to Christmas now, we did believe that a lot of kids would be coming through. Santa had a little grotto, and he was taking photos for the parents to, with their phones. It was just walk up, and he was smiling, he was happy, he was big, red and jolly.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then,
all you can want from a Santa.
Yeah, that's all you need from a Santa.
Yeah.
Not charging $25 for a photo.
We had the cars on display again this year.
The vehicles, yeah, I saw.
So we had the Magnum PI Ferrari 308.
Yeah, I always
had the Knight Rider kit car.
DeLorean.
We had the DeLorean from Back to the Future, and we had a MX-5 converted Lightning McQueen car.
Yep, so that was at least 4 of them, and people got photos done. There was a kid running around as Marty McFly in the future.
I think they were linked with that DeLorean, right? Because I think that person's parents were the owners of the DeLorean.
Oh, see, that would have made a lot more sense because he rolled up to the car and then got a picture with it, and I thought, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That was cosplaying at its best. It had a hoverboard and everything. Okay?
He did, yeah. He had the pump shoes. I can't remember what
the Nike Air something.
Yeah.
And he had the shiny hat.
Yep.
So he looked the part. He looked really good. But there was also a vintage Marty McFly.
There was, yes.
They just had the red vest, and you looked at him and you went, "That's a really weird thing to wear," and then you realised, "Oh yeah, Marty McFly."
Mm.
So that was cool. As far as food,
Miss Malicious was there.
Oh,
with her cupcakes.
Oh
my gosh.
My
we managed to trade for a 6-pack of cupcakes. All various flavors.
She gave us 6 different flavors, and then we had a character from the Fraggle Rock, which is like a giant size Wembley.
Yep. And
she came up. She goes, "Oh my god, I love it!" I was like, "Cool." And she goes, "What?" I said, "What do you do?" She's like, "I've got the cupcakes." I was like, "Let's go." So we got a 6-pack of those. We swapped those around, and we had one, and my heart stopped for a second.
Oh, from the first bite.
And then it was one of those cupcakes where you finished it, and then I felt taller. Like it was full on. And so it did take me, you and I, maybe an hour before we cracked into the next one.
Yeah, that first one was, I used the word decadent because that's what it felt like when I was eating it, because it had all these flavors going on. I
cupcake,
peanut,
icing,
like Reese's, kind of like a Reese's cupcake, but in actual cupcake form, and just so nutty, so chocolatey. Everything was on point.
Yeah, I got the straight up chocolate one that was mean, and it had almost like a mousse icing on top with the dark chocolate cupcake. So that's cool. But then there was a little spearmint one, which I thought was really quite nice.
I can smell that one. That smelled really good.
It was good, but very green. Looked like Kermit. And I think she had little edible pictures on top. So I think it had Jim and the Holograms.
Oh, yeah.
I know one had the Snorks.
And Muppets.
And the Muppets. So she was really good for what she was selling and sort of handing out to everybody and getting. She had decorated it to suit the retro.
They were retro, right?
Yeah, they were retro and full of sugar, and that's what we had for breakfast. So that was before we even opened, I think.
It was like 9?
Yeah.
Before 9?
Crazy. I should not have had 2. We had 2. and that kept us going until we realised we were actually hungry.
Yeah.
We went out and got lunch from one of the food trucks.
Yeah, one of the food trucks, which was a plate of chips.
Deep fried chips. Fries, some stir-fried beef in there. And fried onions. And then a fried egg.
Top of the egg.
Yeah, and so that was quite cool. Yeah, and so we are filming. No. Go away. My children. And so that was one plate. We got 4 of those between whoever was eating, and then they had these wicked hot dogs.
Yeah. Bit of salad in there. They were smoky flavoured Kranskis in there.
Wieners. And then covered in avocado. What? So they were really good. And then the thing is, they were, I don't know if they were meant to be, but they were cold, but they tasted even better like that.
Yeah. I think you get more smokiness that way. I think that's what
they were off the hook.
Yeah.
And then I did see fresh fruit ice creams. They were
there were hot chips coming from one of those stalls. All of them.
Oh no, they're
from the cafe.
They're from the cafe inside. They were hot. Then there was coffee which came from the cafe.
Yep.
And I saw. No, I think that's all I saw as far as food. But there was a selection and big enough for everyone to be able to find something to eat and not starve.
Yeah, and I imagine they were busy enough. Because...
Oh, there was a licorice stall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so next to Miss Malicious or Missy's,
there was
a table and they had licorice, shit tons of licorice.
Yeah.
Not a fan, so I didn't go there. But they looked like they were doing well. So that covered our food, our magazines, the stores, toys. For the first time in 4 events, I blew some money. I did really well, actually.
Yeah, that was unexpected. No, I think it was just, again, it was a matter of finding the right thing to be spending the money on, right? So.
Yeah, so at Dewdrops, I met a woman and brought the Necker McManus brothers from the Boondock Saints. That same lady was back and she had the McFarlane Twisted Fairy Tales.
Yeah.
So I managed to get Gretel from Hansel and Gretel,
yep.
Little Red Riding Hood, Peter Pumpkin Eater. That's some dark. And the fourth one I got was so that was a spider. So I'm going to add those to our collection. I got a Alaroo Wuzzle. I got the new retro cap.
Who's the Alaroo from?
Alaroo is from Wuzzles. The Wuzzle.
So who'd you get that from?
Oh, I got that from the cupcake lady. So I went over to her store to pick up our half a dozen, and she had these little soft toys, and I was like, "Oh my god, I love Alaroo!" And she was like, "Take it, it's all yours."
Yes.
And I think that was a big thing around the vendors this year. Was actually, I know who you are. We're mates. We've done this before.
Yeah.
We're a community now, and so we.
Yeah, and I think that showed again even more this year with the family community feel that has growing in the retro event. Means that people are far more comfortable with each other, what's going on, and then how to network and deal with each other more.
Yeah, so we had the person that was working next to us hit us up and go, "Can you watch our stall for 2 minutes?"
Yeah.
We don't know who. And she was just like quite comfortable to go, "If you could just watch it." And so when I went up to Missy to get our cupcake, she was like, "Oh yeah, sweet." And I was like, "I love this guy." And she goes, "What's all yours?" And then I thought, well, that's cool. We had free bins, and then people coming up and going, "Can I have this?" And it's like, yeah, actually, don't worry about it. Just take them. I'm just trying to empty all the stuff out of my house. You have it. So there was a lot of that going on. I don't know what else I got. Oh, and then the bro from Whangaparoa. I got a little dinosaur, Robbie. So he's going to add to my little miniature collection, which is quite cool, because then I just have to find Charlene. So the only things I actually spent money on was the McFarlanes. So that was cool. We went from... So VIP got in at 8:40. No, 8:20. General got in at 9. And the doors were closed at 4.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So at 4 o'clock, everyone was beginning to close down. And I think we were back in the vehicle by 4:30 and out the door going home.
Audis.
Out. So it was good because a lot of the vendors know each other now. So it actually took longer to say goodbye to everyone than it did to pack up the tables. So we had to do a quick lap, say goodbye to everyone, got in the vehicle, still saying goodbye to everyone.
Yeah.
And then actually leaving was harder than the last few that we've had to do away.
Yeah. And I expect that that's going to keep happening, right? Because again, by the time the next one comes up, we'll know more people. We'll have more interactions with more people, and
the networking is a serious thing now. Because now I remember saying to at least 3 or 4 people, "This is what I'm looking for. If you come across it, let me know."
Yeah.
And because not everyone's from Auckland, not everyone has the same set of friends, not everyone has the same network. So, the guy that I bought the Titan 8Es off last year, I hit him up. I said, "If you come across any more, keen to have them."
Yeah.
It was really good this year, and it felt like less work.
It did, yeah. So compared to June's
June's
retro
at Dewdrops.
and I feel like it's possibly to do with the size of the venue.
Yeah.
Meaning that people had time to kind of spread out and look around, rather than them becoming like a choke point at certain places.
So spacing was heaps better.
Yeah, like for us last year, it was definitely part of us being the cash out.
Yeah.
That was conducive to having these choke points around us because everybody's trying to look at tables beside us and trying to get cash out as well.
Especially beside us, because Bo's Transformers table with the Bot Brothers, insane.
Yeah.
That was crazy in June, and I'm not saying it wasn't as busy. It just wasn't as noticeable.
Yeah.
Because of how much space we had, and he had a few more tables, so there was space for everyone to spread around.
Yeah.
Whereas in Manukau, he had a table and a half, and everyone was trying to funnel into this one table to get stuff that they knew he had. Whereas this year, I think he had 2 or 3 tables in the front, 3 tables at the back, and he was doing really well. So
him and Baby Bird, like, they cranked through their work.
Yeah.
It was really good to see, and I think again because of the organising, it meant that was better planned and able to let things flow as easy as it did.
Yeah, and I think even with our team. This is our 4th one together, but there's a lot more trust and understanding as to what needs to be done, who does what, and how we roll through.
Yep.
Dewdrops, we kind of realised where our strong points were.
Yep.
And in this one, we understood what our jobs were. And so our young guy, Atticus, had the FPOS machine when he wasn't sleeping.
Shot Atticus.
And then I was able to leave the table more often to support Errol and the crew when things weren't going as easy as we would have liked them.
Yeah.
And I got to shop.
Yeah, and again, that's due to the organisation and allowing us to have that space and freedom to do more.
Yeah. So I guess that's, as far as reviews go, that's probably everything in it. And I couldn't even hazard a guess as to how many people came through. Because everything's so big and we weren't so rushed, it felt like there were less people, but we had more hours. So we went from...
I think more steady. It was more steady.
Yeah.
The way it felt.
More vendors. We started at 8:20. General came in at 9. You had to get wristbands. So actually coming in, you couldn't just walk in. You had to stop. You had to get a wristband, the next person. And so everyone was drip fed in. And so even though everyone was coming in as quickly as they could, it wasn't at force.
Yeah.
So...
And there were queues again out into the car park.
Oh my! I got a text from my mate. It was 11:30, and there was still a queue.
Yeah.
So it was. I think we've cracked it. I think as far as set up how we want everything, how people, selling stuff, vendors, cosplay, everything is probably where we want it. So from that basics that we now have right, we can build on it.
Yeah, so the foundations are there now, which then will allow us to do our jobs and as vendors provide the public with better service.
Yeah. So as an event, I don't know, it must be a solid 8.5, eh?
Yeah, easily.
And that's just because we weren't rushed. Unfortunately, there weren't as many food trucks as we had at Dewdrop, so the wait was a bit longer. But the food was still off the hook, so it was worth the wait. Yeah. The amount of people that came through, the fact that they were filtered through, the vendors that were there, the organisation, the selection of what was there. We had a couple of 3D printing people, Dragon Ball Z cards. Like it wasn't just pop culture, vintage clothing, food. The Beyblades is a perfect prime example of stuff where they want to be involved with the retro.
Yep.
So solid 8.5. No dates are set for the next one, and I guess that gives us at least 6 months to kind of relax and not have to think about it.
Yeah. Build to the future.
Yeah. So I guess we get to concentrate on Christmas and then summer holidays with our kids, and then I'm sure at some point everyone will make a announcement.
Call a meeting. Yep.
Yep, and let us know when the next dates are. So, as a whole.
Yep. Look forward to that. Look forward to it.
It's a great day, and yeah, I guess that's us.
That's us.
Beautiful. Catch you guys later.
Shot.